So the women hooked up the last man on Earth to a milking machine, you know? In the near future, well, the world sort of teeters on the brink of extinction due to a mysterious virus that only affects men. It strikes their bodies instantly, leading to massive blood loss and death within just a few weeks. All the men on Earth are dead, and women are forced to burn their bodies. 8 years later, an organization called Wellness fully governs a community made up of women. Despite the catastrophe that occurred not long ago, they've learned to move on and embrace life in a world without men. The main issue for society would be the inability to extend their lineage, but the organization, under the leadership of Lane, solved this problem by using sperm stored in old biobank centers. The story focuses on three best friends: Jaime, a woman who lost her husband and son; Pip, a cheerful and optimistic girl who works for the organization; and Alex, a rebel and harsh critic of both the organization and its leader, living in New Zealand. The friends have set up a dairy farm and raise cattle. One day, like the other women, they gather in the hall for an official event with Lane. Soon, Lane reminds them that today's lottery will determine which women get the chance to become pregnant. Alex is skeptical of Lane's claims about a better world and believes their society is far from perfect. Pip tries to calm her down, but Alex snatches her green smoothie and throws it at Lane, staining her pristine white dress. The girl has crossed the line and deserves immediate punishment, so Constable Constant arrests her and takes her to a holding room. Left alone, Alex continues to provoke the law enforcement, but for them, it's like a game. She and Constant are lovers secretly meeting for pleasure. Meanwhile, the women in the hall proceed with the lottery to replenish the population. After a few lucky women, Jaime hears her name and realizes she has a chance to become a mother. Knowing nothing will stop them, Alex and Constant make love and discuss plans for the weekend. Their moment is interrupted by Lane, who doesn't understand why the constable locked the door from the inside. Realizing time is running out, the law enforcement officer does her job and shoots Alex in the back of the head with an Exhilaration capsule, a temporary mood enhancer used unnaturally. A few days later, Constant brings Alex back to the farm and reminds the girls that Alex still needs care, as she's still under the effect of the capsule planted in her neck. With neither the time nor the ability to care for Alex constantly, the friends strap her to the bed, waiting for her to recover. Later, Jaime heads to the fertilization center, where she learns that she must go through several additional stages before she can become a mother. She undergoes a medical exam and discovers that she won't be able to carry a child if it's a boy, as the virus will kill him in the womb. At the same time, Pip works in Lane's office and accidentally overhears a conversation between her and a doctor. Pip realizes that the leader of the organization has secrets, but promises not to tell anyone about it. Soon, Alex wakes up, realizes she's been tied up, easily escaping her restraints. She notices some notes and follows the instructions left by her friends. They ask her to eat, brush her teeth, and remove the Exhilaration capsule from the back of her neck. Meanwhile, Jaime visits a woman of easy virtue to spend a few hours with her. Jaime misses her late husband and convinces the woman to wear his hat and jacket. Overcome with nostalgic memories, Jaime imagines her deceased husband Jackson and makes love to him, then talks about her upcoming pregnancy. In the evening, the friends return home to find that Alex is gone and the bathroom is covered in blood. They are puzzled by her disappearance and don't realize that she went to visit her mother. The elderly woman has a mood-enhancing capsule planted in her head, leaving her unaware of her surroundings and emotionless. After visiting her mother, Alex returns home and stains posters of Lane with blood. The friends decide to search for her in an old SUV, but along the way, they hit someone. At first, they think it's a goat, but soon realize it's a human body. Jaime fears it might be their friend, but Alex has only just returned home and doesn't understand what's happening. Turning the body over, the friends are shocked to discover that it's possibly the last surviving man on Earth. Trying to confirm this, they pull at his beard. The man wakes up, lunges at the friends, but they hit him in the head, knocking him unconscious again. Pip, Jaime, and Alex drag the man into the barn to figure out what to do with him. Pip, as a loyal worker of the organization, suggests handing him over to Lane, warning that if they don't, they might face punishment in the form of permanent exhilaration. Jaime and Alex ignore their friend's suggestion and decide to keep the man, as he urgently needs medical attention. The friends remove a sharp object from his leg and stop the bleeding, but Pip faints from the sight of it. The next morning, the friends wake up to the arrival of Michelle, Lane's subordinate, who has come to assess Jamie's well-being and her ability to be a good mother. Jamie begs Pip not to mention the man in the barn, fearing that he might cost her the chance to become a mother. Reluctantly, Pip agrees but fails to lie convincingly during the interview. During the conversation with Michelle, Pip and Jamie are visibly nervous, struggling to answer seemingly simple questions. After a short discussion, Michelle suggests visiting the barn to check out their dairy farm, which terrifies Jamie and Pip as they're hiding the only man left on Earth, an act that could have serious consequences. Meanwhile, Alex inspects the man's belongings and learns that his name is Bob. He came from a quarantine zone where no survivor should have been. But what scares her isn't that. Among his things, she finds a newspaper clipping with a picture of her mother, which makes Alex uneasy. When Bob wakes up, he tries to leave the barn, but Alex stops him, attacking the man. She does everything she can to keep him away from Michelle. Bob is stronger than Alex and begins to strangle her, but she manages to knock him out with a taser. Hiding his body, Alex pretends to be exhilarated and Michelle sympathizes with her friends. Later, Alex returns to interrogate Bob. Having tied him up, she tries to understand why he wants her mother, but Bob refuses to speak to anyone other than the scientist. Alex explains that this is impossible as the scientist was deemed crazy 4 years ago. She constantly talked about surviving men, which led to her being subjected to permanent exhilaration. Bob threatens with the same fate and promises to implant a capsule in his neck, but at one point she sees her mother's face before her. Realizing that such treatment isn't right, she destroys the exhilaration cap and tries to be more friendly with Bob. As a result, he reveals that there are other surviving men, shocking Alex. Meanwhile, Jamie returns to the artificial insemination clinic and learns that her application has been rejected. Falling into depression, she calls Pip to share the bad news. Pip decides to help and approaches Lane, telling her that Jamie is a strong and deserving woman who would make a good mother. Lane interprets Pip's attempt to challenge Michelle's decision as distrust in her colleague, which could lead to punishment. Soon after, Jamie is removed from the list of potential mothers, permanently losing her chance to become a mother. Devastated by this, Jamie decides to take drastic measures. She goes to the barn and asks Bob to provide biological material for fertilization. She dances in front of him and undresses, but Pip stops her, begging Jamie not to lower herself and fall into madness. Pip promises to solve the problem on her own. Rushing to the barn, Pip connects the last man on Earth to the milking machine to extract his semen and give it to Jamie.
Meanwhile, Alex begins her own investigation to expose the organization, unaware that Bob is being hunted by a woman who seeks to eliminate him. The next morning, Pip returns to the barn to ask Bob to provide his biological material once more. The man refuses on principle, as he is treated like an animal. Pip, secretly feeling sympathy and sexual attraction, proposes a deal. He will give the biological material, and they will let him take a shower. Later, Jamie and Alex go to the store, where they meet a woman who was also denied fertilization despite winning the lottery. She struggles with the rejection but respects the company's decision, which greatly irritates Alex. Pip escorts the man to the shower, controlling him with a stun gun and refusing to untie his hands, considering him dangerous. Bob reluctantly agrees and heads to the bathroom, aware that Pip is watching him. Having fulfilled her part of the deal, the man fills a cup with his semen. When Jamie returns home, Pip gives her the biological material and tries to do so secretly from Alex. Later, Alex goes to the barn to befriend Bob. She offers him a sandwich and alcohol, but she gets drunk first, losing control of the situation. Thinking they've become best friends, the naive and trusting Alex frees Bob. The man uses this opportunity to try to escape, but he falls face first into a cowpat. Realizing he's too weak for a solo journey, Bob returns to the barn and apologizes for his actions. That evening, Jamie uses the insemination tube only to recall the store worker showing sympathy. She decides to sacrifice the biological material and anonymously leave it at the woman's house. The next morning, Pip brings Bob breakfast and realizes she wants to have sex with him. Struggling to suppress these thoughts, she heads to the organization's office. There, she learns that the store worker confessed and handed over the biological material, but she was still punished with a shot in the back for exulting. Meanwhile, Bob informs them that he has a SIM card that can help him figure out what to do next and how to find other surviving men. Alex finds an old mobile phone, allowing them to check the card. They discover a message that reads, "Wake up," but they don't understand the full plan. Soon after, Pip calls home and, using code phrases, informs them that the organization has learned about Bob and a cleanup team is heading to the farm. Pip arrives home at the same time as the organization workers and finds her friends hiding nearby. They realize that Jaime's actions were reckless, and now they need to go into hiding. At that moment, an unknown caller reaches Bob and gives him the coordinates of the place where other men are located. The group heads to the designated location but doesn't know what to do next. The coordinates lead them to a quarantine zone once used to burn the bodies of men, but there's nothing left here now. At one point, Alex and Bobby go to the restroom when suddenly Bobby notices a red dot on the girl's forehead, realizing she's being targeted by a sniper. The couple makes a run for it and heads back to the car. The huntress has tracked Bobby and is determined to kill him, but her friends are opposed to it. Pip, who's used to following the rules, sticks to the signs, which causes them to go in circles. This allows the huntress to take a few shots before they manage to drive off to a safer spot. Most of the roads are blocked, so they have to head to the annual menstruation celebration. The girls hide Bobby under old blankets, passing him off as a frail, elderly woman. Despite the danger to their lives, Pip continues to follow the rules and plays the obedient girl. As a result, she gives the car keys to allow the others to clean it. The group is forced to hide out at the celebration, which becomes increasingly difficult. In an attempt to hide Bobby and keep his true identity a secret, Pip grabs a pink cup costume. Amid the crowd of partygoers, the group gets separated and can't find each other. Pip heads to the tent to hand out gifts to young women, but spots the huntress has also arrived at the celebration.
Running for her life, Pip heads into the labyrinth of self-discovery, where she meets Lane. Lane knows the three girls are hiding the last surviving man and demands they bring him to her before sunset. If they fail, she warns them, Jaime and Alex will face a lifetime of exaltation with complete loss of identity. Jaime sees one of the girls resemble her late husband and follows her. As a result, she ends up on the Ferris wheel, sitting next to a little girl. The height makes Jaime feel nauseous, and she suddenly realizes she might be pregnant, even though it's unlikely. Alex helps Bobby escape the celebration, but spots her mother. The woman is insane and doesn't understand anything, but starts to get nervous when she sees the huntress, as if she's seen her before. Bobby is forced to flee and hides in the mirror maze. The huntress follows him, and the reunited friends head into the maze after them. The mirrored traps separate the friends, but they manage to regroup. In one of the reflections, they see that the huntress has captured Bobby and injected him so he can't resist. Not knowing how to find an exit, Pip uses a trick and marks each mirror with red paint. This helps the friends escape the maze and spot the huntress driving Bobby to her pickup truck. While Pip and Alex try to get the car keys back to start the chase, Jaime catches up with the huntress's truck and jumps into the pickup's bed. Pip and Alex have to put aside their differences to try and save their friends from the bounty hunter. While chasing the pickup truck, Pip is reluctant to break the rules and doesn't speed up, which allows the huntress to escape and retreat to her lair to dispose of Bobby once and for all. Jaime, who is hiding in the truck bed, finds several tranquilizer darts and a shovel. Sneaking into the huntress's lair, she attacks her but hesitates. In a chaotic moment, Jaime accidentally hits the huntress in the chest with one of the darts, temporarily putting her to sleep. Fleeing the scene, Jaime confesses to Bobby that she's pregnant. Trusting her instincts, Pip finds the huntress's hideout and a clue left by her friend. The group reunites by the bridge near the river, and it seems like the worst is behind them. The friends suggest returning to the spot marked by the coordinates, but this time, Bobby will go alone, as the men are waiting for their own person and might have hidden when they saw the women. As they discuss the plan, Bobby, Alex, and Jaime don't realize that Pip has betrayed them. Instead of taking them to the coordinates, she leads them to Lane's residence to hand over the man and earn her boss's forgiveness. Alex and Jaime are locked in separate rooms, and soon Lane visits them, asking them to change clothes for the upcoming procedure. She plans to perform eternal exaltation on them, so they lose touch with reality and no longer interfere with her rule. Alex begs Lane to spare the pregnant Jaime, but this only triggers a fit of rage in Lane. Meanwhile, Pip prepares for a party where she expects a career promotion. She's given a revealing evening gown, but ends up adding a black veil to her outfit to cover herself. At the table, Pip meets the bound Bobby and tries to justify her actions. At the same time, Constable Constant visits Alex. The constable wants to save the girl because she loves her, but she cannot break the organization's rules. Realizing it's the end, Constant says goodbye to Alex. She and Jaime are taken to the operating room where the doctor is ready to drill into their skulls. Meanwhile, Lane orders Bobby and Pip to make love. Bobby tries to resist, but a crowd of enraged women holds him back. Lane excites Bobby and commands Pip to sleep with him, threatening that her friends will suffer if she refuses. Pip agrees and climbs on top, only to notice a pendant on Lane's neck, her friend's pendant. Realizing that Alex and Jaime are in danger, Pip rejects Lane for the first time, and as a result, she too is sentenced to exaltation. Constant takes Pip to the operating room and asks the doctors to begin her exaltation first. They decide to ask Lane for permission, and the constable uses this opportunity. She shoots the doctors in the back and then helps Pip free Jaime and Alex. Going to extreme lengths for the woman she loves, Constant asks to be shot in the back of the head so Lane doesn't uncover or punish her. Realizing this is the ultimate act of love, Alex agrees to shoot her beloved. The three friends successfully escape, finding a hideout with costumes, boots, and tasers. The girls prepare to do whatever it takes to stop Lane and free Bobby. The next morning, the head of the organization transports Bobby to a secret hideout, but a cow appears on the road. It quickly becomes clear that it's a trap set by the three friends who surround the car. They electrocute Lane to let Bobby escape, but he no longer trusts them. This allows Lane to recover and take control of the situation, as only she has a firearm. Alex, Jaime, and Pip are ready to sacrifice their lives for Bobby and stand in the line of fire, displaying courage. Pip attacks Lane, and the friends shock her again. While the three friends struggled with the head of the organization, Bobby had escaped. They realize he has gone to the place where it all began and hurry there. Bobby arrives first at the old locker room and speaks the code word, opening the steel door. The friends running after him, and the huntress joins them. The door closes, and they are trapped, but things are not as simple as they seem. The huntress doesn't want to harm them. She wants to help Bobby and protect him from a threat he's unaware of. The room starts filling with poisonous gas, but the huntress notices a ventilation shaft. She helps the three friends and Bobby climb up and then informs Alex that she knew her mother. Noticing an identical tattoo on the huntress's body, Alex realizes that the huntress is a good person who never intended to hurt them. As they escape the suffocating smoke, they crawl through the ventilation, but at one point, Bobby gets stuck and can't move forward. The four of them must break open the vent to make an unexpected discovery. They find themselves in a room with several men, all bound and gagged, their bodies connected to milking machines to collect biological material. It turns out that the hideout for men is a trap, and Lane had bought Bobby. Her goal is to take over the world by controlling birth rates and manipulating people willing to do anything for the continuation of the human race. The most horrifying revelation is that Lane's main accomplice and lover is Jackson, Jaime's husband, whom she believed to be dead. Alex, Pip, Jaime, and Bobby realize they're doomed. The heroes are faced with a tough decision: follow the rules or defy the system. Are their choices justified when it comes to survival and maintaining their humanity? What would you do if you were in their shoes? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video.